While times have been tough for the fantastically named Gruff Junction Goats cheesemaker in Christchurch, they've managed to find a little silver lining in the earthquakes and turned it into a competitive advantage.
It's a little cheese with a big story. We created it after the first quake in September 2010. My colleague Kirsty lost her house in that quake and her husband lost his restaurant, so everything was going a bit pear-shaped for her and she wanted to do something positive. So we created this cheese. We put a layer of ash in the middle, which symbolises the fault line, and then it gets hidden by the white mould rind as it grows around the pyramid, and the fault line of course was hidden, no one knew it was there as well. And what we weren't expecting was when you cut it in half, the knife drags on the ash and it creates a seismograph effect that looks like a bit of a zigzag.
Not only has the cheese taken off with restaurants around the country, it also scooped the Original Cheese Award at this year's Champions of Cheese Awards in Auckland. And the publicity that comes will go a little way to helping compensate for the loss of much of their Cantabrian customer base. There were many other award-winning cheeses on display, but top judge Russell Smith said a few were just stunning.
Again, the Dutch cheeses stood out. When I first judged here 4 years ago, that's what really blew me away. I mean, the Dutch cheeses, and there's several of them in this room, you must try them. I mean, they are absolutely superb. The other category is the blues. I mean, the blues stood out really well, and they're the two categories you do best here, really.
There were more than 400 cheeses entered in this year's awards, but there could only be so many winners. Fortunately, I was here to check out a few of the best.
It's really versatile, but at the same time really packs that punch which
Sure does.
in the vintage. So.
Neil Mayer is the head cheesemaker at Mayer Gouda Cheese. This year, their 5-year-old Mayer Vintage Gouda won the Champion of Champions award, and he says part of his success is down to the quality of his inputs.
Well, milk and lots of it, and I think the key to our cheese and the success with all the range is actually the quality of the milk. I get the milk from a single source farm, which is what my brother-in-law runs. The cheese factory's on site of the farm, so I've got a direct pipeline from the milk vat to my factories.
Having a cheesemaker father played a big role too, but he says one of the most crucial factors in producing a great cheese is moisture.
Moisture is the key, that's really it. Like moisture in the pre-making stages, so the curd stages, you need to make sure you've either reduced the moisture or increased it depending on the type of cheese you make. In this case, the vintage is quite a dry, brittle cheese. If you try it, it will be quite brittle in your mouth. That's because we've taken a lot of moisture out. The more moisture you take out, the longer you can mature it, and then the peak time of when it's at its best will be longer and much better as well.
But my personal favourite of the evening had to be the halloumi and fennel from Rosa's Halloumi in Pukekohe.
That's fantastic.
And when I heard the recipe had been handed down through the family in Turkey for 140 years, it made sense.
Family never commercialised this, it's just for the family users.
Yep.
And so when we decided in New Zealand to do it, and we say, well, let's do it. And family criticised it first. They said, it won't work. We say, well, we want to try. And we try, and people love it. And that's what gives most pleasure to us, to see that people try and smile. And you know, and this is the more important things for us, that people love it.
Benedict Collins, Country 99 TV News.
It's just so good.